What's up, you guys? Thank you guys for watching the Modern Flow podcast. I'm so greatly appreciated about all the support and the listens and the referrals and the people that have jumped on the podcast. I just want to say thank you and appreciate you guys. And quick promotion. We got Peak Performance Academy, and if you're interested in working with me and performance coaching and life coaching, please let me know. Just book a discovery call. This is how we support the channel. This is how we support more podcasts, more guests. All this stuff takes time, and the best way you could support is hitting a like button, sharing it, commenting it, and tagging somebody on it, and just helping spread the message. This year, I'm really trying to make it 10 times the impact. So, yes, I'd love to hear from you. Book a discovery call. Refer this out to a friend of yours if you like personal development. And if this message resonates with you, I'll be greatly appreciate it. All right. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Modern Flow podcast. My name is Sam Nang. Man, I'm the host of this podcast. I'm the head coach at Peak Performance Academy. And we got a very special guest here. His name is Dr. Jacopo Iasiello. Is that how you say it?
It's almost Italian, but my name is Jacopo Iasiello, but it's perfect how you tell.
Yes, I want to hear how you say it and how you pronounce it. And a lot of people they always ask me how to pronounce my name. My name
Yeah,
is pronounced Sam Nang Man. So welcome to our show. We have a pleasure of hosting Dr. Jacopo Iasiello, CEO of Luxury and Wealth Group. Jacopo's journey began in Naples, Italy, where his love for his family and city shaped his early passion for entrepreneurship. He started at 11. He delved into books by real estate investors and entrepreneurs, laying his foundation for his future success. Despite an early career in soccer that ended due to injury, Jacopo transitioned to business, starting his successful jewelry chain at 18. Wow. Expanding his ventures globally, by 22, he started in real estate, specializing in auction and short sales, quickly earning a reputation for securing lucrative deals. He earned his PhD in International Business Management, authoring a thesis on successful entrepreneurs, and studying under renowned trainers like Tony Robbins. Moving to Florida in 2011, where he completed over 350 real estate transactions with building a substantial real estate portfolio. And he developed an innovative method called M.P.B.E, meditate, morning, pray, biohacking, and exercise has transformed his life. And he has an upcoming book, Healthy, Rich, and Happy, which was released in December. And he aims to share his transformative approach with others. So we bring him on to share his incredible journey and his insight on his new method. He wants to inspire listeners to achieve financial freedom and personal fulfillment. So let's welcome Dr. Jacopo Iasiello.
thank you.
Let's go. It's an honor to have you here. I saw your resume. I was like, let's go. So please, definitely, that was the introduction. And you were so on it and had this whole thing prepared for me, which helped me out a lot because I had to prepare some the show notes using my forms and everything. But this really helped. But feel free to introduce whatever I missed, and we could continue the conversation. I love real estate, entrepreneurship, millionaires, billionaires mindset. We could take the podcast to many, many directions, but I want you to flow in with this podcast because it's all about philosophy and just vibing. But welcome to the show.
First of all, thank you to invite me, and I really appreciate your introduction, the way how you communicate, and your beautiful smile. Quindi, this is the first part I want to share with you. Your face bring me energy. And this is not for everybody or to everybody. The journey starting how you explain in my city where I coming from, Napoli. I grew up in a loving family, a beautiful parent, beautiful grandfather over here. And I have from really young age like some driving creativity inside me. I want to know more about life of other human being, and starting around 11 years old to be interested in different kind of life, not only business entrepreneur but to special life, like some kind of human being change the world. And I started to read a lot of biography, and in the same time I have this passion, this driving for play professional soccer. My dream from really early age, around 6, 7 years old until 17 years old, is to becoming professional soccer.
Yeah.
13 years old, change, moving in other city in Italy, where I living my family in Napoli, and I go and I do professional soccer in different city over here in Italy, because my goal is to becoming successful soccer professional. What's happening? 17 years old, after many years, leave my city, leave my family. I have this big injury, and I need to go back inside, another time inside my house. And honestly, at that time, I feel no direction. I don't know where I need to go. And I have the support of my beautiful family. In particular, at that time, I remember like yesterday, my mother, where she told me, "Don't worry, you will find a way to be creative and successful in something. You will find what you want." And this word resonate in me like a mantra, and I started to understand really what I want. I started to really understand my goal in my life, my purpose. And the only way to create my purpose now is to create abundance, to share with more people if possible, to becoming a philanthropic investor entrepreneur, is to really go in the direction of business. But how how a lot of people they know, life is a process of mistake. And what's happening, I take the money from government from Italy, I open this first shop, jewelry shop, and I positioned this shop in the wrong position, where nobody know.
Your mistake. First mistake, right?
the,
Yeah, that's how business works. You got to make a mistake, a big one.
the, the first learning experience,
Yes.
location.
Location. Yeah.
And feeling aside inside, like a lot of people like you, me, other entrepreneurs, they do experience, they fall, they want to go back. And what's happening, I ask to my beautiful father, I tell him, "Hey, help me in moving this shop, and I am sure 1000% I will make success this company." He give me 8,000 euro at that time. For him, really a lot of money at that time.
Mhm.
And I changed the shop, I put in better position, I started different kind of marketing, I revealed something inside the business. And from over there, the business started to really go up. I opened more than 20 shop. I make this company a multi-millionaire company. And I starting in the same time my career like investor around 22 years old over here in Italy, where I am now, because I am with my family, in auction. After this path, like everybody, we have like life is not like flat. It's not like we go
Yes.
smooth. You know, in,
You right. There you go. It's like this.
yeah, correct, like this. And this is life to every people. They want to be entrepreneur, they want to make something different in the world, in the small world or in the big world, wherever is it. You need to accept the change of life. And why I share with you, because I don't know if it's happening to your life. I have different drop. I have another drop around 28 years old, where I discover my really passion, the creation inside me. And what's happening, my business started to lose revenue over here in Italy. And
Mhm.
I feel I arrive at one point at this age where I already have make big chunk of money. But I need technically I don't have anymore this driving motivation. I need to understand why. Because you and me, other people, they are all outside of there, they have the same situation. When you arrive at one point where you achieve result, economic result, if you don't have something inside, you will feel empty. At that time, I started to lose revenue, and I started the same time to understand what's happening in America in real estate. at subprime mortgage, and from over there take one the fly, go to Florida, Miami. Really difficult for me. Don't speak English, don't speak Spanish, don't have anybody over there.
Quick
Started
question about real estate. Just quick, U.S. versus like Italy. How much of a difference is the real estate market? Does it tie a
com-
lot together?
completely different, completely
Completely
different.
different. Okay. Why were
And
you studying what was happening in the U.S. to bring back to the
yeah,
Italy?
because what's happening is this one, think about, at 28 years old, I create this bigger company. My company is starting to lose revenue,
Hmm.
and I need to find something more, not only to make money, to feel my heart fulfilled, because
Fulfillment. Yeah.
my yeah, my driving passion is create. I am creator because I am connect with the divine. And what's happening, I starting to understand which kind of market related to what I do. Remember, at 22 years old, I started real estate over here, and I
Mhm.
starting really big possibility, because the first thing I remember, and I respond to your question, is this one. I went to Zillow, and I see Zillow is the
Yeah.
website where
Real
you
estate
see the
website.
property, and I see the big drop to 2006 in some property I check, to 2010 where I started to research.
Okay.
Unbelievable, less the
Yeah.
the 15%. And it's no, you don't need to be a magician, or a big you know, mind, to
Yeah.
understand that that time is the correct time to invest. Take one flight, go to other part of the world, starting cry, because difficulties, no, change the world from Europe and America's completely two different world. Not only real estate, but in culture, and I lose a lot of peace during this transaction. I lose a lot of moment with my family. I lose like a
Yeah.
lot of friends, my ex fiance, and everything. But I gain experience, I gain new beautiful girlfriend, which she given me a lot of energy, and I create more 350 flipping. I have my portfolio of cash flow where I travel the world, and I really have the experience now inside me to bring to create something everywhere I go, because thanks to the United States.
Yeah. Wow. See, my intro and your intro makes this like we could just end the podcast, but we got more questions to ask. But no, it's so interesting. I loved it. The story about like how you started reading biographies. Can I ask what like a biography or like a figure that really inspired you when you were young? And because that's so important growing up.
Yeah, I have two one in particular. One is an entrepreneur, Italian entrepreneur called Flavio Briatore. Is a guy. He create multiple kind different of business related to different kind of business. Is like a guy where he have the touch to understand some kind of market, create something big, and resell this business. And another one at that time it really resonate with me is Warren Buffett, because his strategy to invest, and the vision how he invests is really something give me some clarity how is important invest some kind category of investment.
Yes, I love Warren Buffett. He's definitely the entrepreneur when I went to school to study entrepreneur. So it sounds like you had an entrepreneur mindset very young at heart.
Mhm.
I didn't start getting this mindset until like college, until I started developing. And some of your influencers like Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki, those are some, and Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was one of them. But I think the one quote that I remember, I don't know if it's Warren Buffett. I believe it's Warren Buffett, but he says you don't have $100,000 to invest. He says invest it in yourself. It's a money mindset. It's a mindset that's a little bit different, and everything an entrepreneur speak is like almost a different language. And it's so cool to have you here doing that. So when you had the entrepreneur mindset, you went into soccer. What was there somebody that drew you into soccer, or was that just kind of like I'm good, or were you just naturally good at soccer and then you landed into jewelry right after that?
Yeah,
What was
what's
soccer? How did soccer happen?
Yeah, the soccer happening because think about I grew up over here in a city, Napoli, where we have a big you know let me pass this word. God called Diego Armando Maradona, and he's a professional soccer, the best in the world. What's happening over here in my culture, in Italy, in my city in particular, every at that time when I am young, super young, I have this kind. Every people they have this kind of motivation, and in me, what's happening is this one. Why I really pay attention, I really have my energy in soccer. One, because I have some physical and technical characteristics where God gave me to play soccer, and second of all, because I understand something beautiful. The soccer is like a business where you have a different part of the team, where if you have the capacity to unify this different part of the team in one unique direction, and the soccer is to win against another team, is like something really beautiful, because it's not only your win, but it's the win with you and other human being. And this one bring me really this mindset to go inside the sport. And I love to have organized time in my life. And soccer, like other sport, they give you precise step by step what you need to do, where you need to do, and what you need to do. This is
Yeah,
the you know
skills, drills, practice to get better and everything. So it
yeah.
was like a foundation. I'm interested to hear because you mentioned that you were connected to divine and you speak very spiritually and a little creatively. When was that took effect into like your personal development and like your journey? Was it very young or and did you have somebody like was it I think you mentioned it was your mom that had a big influence on how you saw your mindset. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, what's happening is this one, until 28 years old, you need, I want to clarify with you, with the people listening this podcast. I have, until 18 years old, a lot of doubt, a lot of
Yeah.
insecurity, because, I finished one part of my life where I have this big dream of becoming professional soccer. I need to reinvent myself. And this other part from 18 to 28 years old, in my mind, I think, I have the touch, remida touch. Wherever I touch, becoming gold. But
Yeah.
what's happening, like how in every part of our life, your life, other people's life, happening, when the big moment, the changing moment happening in your life, if you have, your mind and everything open, you will feel the gift in this kind of moment. And at 28 years old, I explained, my business is starting to lose revenue, and I feel no more the remida where everything I touch becoming gold. And I
Mm.
started to find the reason why, because too, if I have money at that time, I already have like the security, financial security, but I don't feel good inside. And I asked to one my friend, this is really something, somebody changed my life. He told me, hey, practice this. Started to see meditation transcendent. I've started to practice, and I started to do practical with started to do meditation transcendent. And from over there, everything completely changed, because I started to connect with something I don't know. I started to go in the flow, and from over there, I am really connect now every day in my, with a lot of sacrifice, sometimes, because I have like you and other human being. Sometimes I want to do, other day I don't want to do, and you know how it's working. I don't didn't explain, and but I connect every day to activation pray with the divine,
Yeah.
where he bring me the power to speak with you now with energy, power, and everything, and to do what I need to do every day in my life. Some day more, some day less, but go in the direction of what I want.
Wow. That is incredible. Thank you for sharing your experience there. It was a spiritual awakening. I think you said around 18 to 20-year old. It's very young.
28, 28,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was kind of where an area where you were uncertain, right? Uncertainty kind of triggers a lot of I need to find certainty. It sounded like you had some direction and been able to figure out. A lot of people, they struggle to do it. But for me, like I'm always growing and learning, and I had a very big spiritual awakening, especially like after my divorce. It was a big transition and a lot of life changes, and changes in my career as well too, and a lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty, I think crisis, and I say that in my podcast and like my content and share with people, is that's like the perfect time to create yourself, reinvent yourself, get closer to the divine, the universe. I did do a lot of meditation as well. I've been meditating since. So a little bit of a background from, because we're going to share both of our audience. I went to school to study real estate, and influenced by Tony Robbins, I was like, I want to study real estate. But I didn't have no skills. Like really, no one in my family was an entrepreneur or business, and like books that I was reading about Robert Kiyosaki was very different from what everybody was reading. So I was reading a lot of different things and saying a lot of different things. But as I got older, I continued to kept doing it, and now I'm 40 at an age where like I still very enjoy it. I'm still in real estate development, but it started from like business, real estate, and then continuing the entrepreneurial journey. But each phase, each time it got hard and uncertain, because I've had like 3 big breakthroughs in my life. It was almost a moment when it was very hard and uncertain was when we found direction, like a crisis where you got to decide things. That's when you get grounded and connected. And meditation is such a powerful tool for me. What you said was powerful. I hope the people in the podcast are listening, like the power of meditation. It's not a religious like practice, but it's a practice that helps a practical way where you can actually visualize. You could actually visualize how you're going to speak, how you're going to interact with people. I meditated on this podcast. I meditated on a lot of things. So it almost, when you talk about flowing, you talk about frequencies where you're speaking the same language, that's alignment and everything. And that comes with meditation. That comes with doing that work. And you mentioned with your method, and I was mentioning to my audience, like maybe like 7 years ago, about biohacking, about like working out, meditating, praying, journaling. With some people do cold plunges, they have their own routine, right? So that has a big effect into people. And a lot of people think when you want to become like a millionaire, you work on the technical stuff. But do you think the technical stuff first, or do you think the mindset routine
Yeah,
first?
I want to share with you beautiful what the question you ask. But before respond to this question, I want to ask you something. Which is the history break in your life? You possibly explain to me, or is something too personally?
No, I can share. I share it all the time in my podcast. The
Oh,
first breakthrough was in college,
mhm.
when I was like undeclared. I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. But at a moment of clarity, my friend, uh, my fraternity brother, he was talking about it. He introduced me to this book. This is the copy. I have another one that I bought,
Love
and I
it.
read probably like 1/3 of it, and I was like, I know what to do. Immediately, I picked my major. I think I got a job, a part-time job, and I got a girlfriend, and then I got elected as like fraternity brother of the year, right? I was just doing extra stuff because I was reading this book, and I was like so hyped. And I started working out. That was the first big breakthrough. And then after college, you get into the work life and weren't as growing as much. And then around 30, that's when I gave up alcohol. That's when I started the drinking, and that really changed my brain and how it developed the memory recall, my focus, and everything. And also too, like biohacking and like health and personal development. Like if you want to be a millionaire, you want to be a high performer and stuff, your brain's got to function. So that's when I gave up that and started meditating. My capabilities, recall, everything was so fast, and I saw the progress, and I continued it. I read a lot of books. That's when I started selling real estate as well too, and I launched a real estate uh, business just like off of my own network. I didn't like spend that much money, but it was all organic marketing, just doing outreach and everything. And I did it for 4 years, and I was working a corporate job as well too. And then the last breakthrough was one with a lot of pain. It was
Mm.
probably the most painful one out of all of them. One was around like the pandemic. What happened was when I was working in a corporate job, I was having a baby, so I took more of the corporate route, in which, looking back at it, I wasn't in alignment. It was because I was almost kind of like felt like I was forced to do it, and like I had the creative aspect and everything, but the folks that worked with me were very like toxic. They didn't
Mhm.
understand my vision. And I was an entrepreneur trying to create and everything. And it threw a lot of things out. And eventually, during the pandemic, they let me go. So that, but the managers that worked with me were very, very toxic and did a toll on my mental health. And then on top of that, I had a divorce after that. And that uh, it really messed with my head.
Yeah.
And lots of challenges, especially when it comes into sales. So I went into sales after working a corporate job. I sold real estate. It was a little bit tougher during the pandemic,
Yeah.
so I didn't get any traction. But I pivoted to construction sales, but still, dealing with like mental health problems at
Mhm.
the same time while I'm trying to make money and sell and put projects together.
Mhm.
The big breakthrough came. It wasn't working with a therapist. It was working with a like life coach.
Mhm.
Uh, it was a metamorphic life coaching where we did a lot of work. Like, are you familiar who Dr. Joe Dispenza is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. With Dr. A lot of his work was like breath work, energy centers, frequencies, and then I did a breathing exercise that kind of like, I think that was the moment where I was like, I knew it. That was the moment. And I told my friend about it, and they call it like a Kundalini awakening. I think
Uh-huh.
that's what it got, where like the whole body just opens up. But it was very spiritual. It was very like crazy at the same time because it was like new. But at the moment, there was like so much clarity on what I wanted to do, so much energy, right? It was like the universe gave me a burst of energy and the clarity on what I needed to do on the next phase of my life. Of course, I still have to do the the practice, right? You have the method, the biohacking, the meditating, the praying, and that. So I continue to do all that, like the energetic work, to make sure that I'm happy and healthy and rich.
And tell me something because it's so important. The part when you lost your corporate job, okay, mess up with your relationship, or before is already the relationship is not go really well.
That's a good question. It played an effect for sure. And I'm not one of those person who like to blame
Mm-hmm.
things, but that was the start of my mental health issues because I
Yeah.
could trace it back. I was like, okay, where did I break down and cry? Because once you break down and cry, that was like almost a seal. But that was the start of it, and my mental health issues kind of just came because one, I was a new father.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we had bought a new home.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic was putting a stress on our family, finances, job change, and everything. So it was a lot of stress, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a lot mentally for
Mm-hmm.
me, and it pushed me through a lot. But I worked through it all the time, and I'm happy and grateful for all the people that have supported me through it. Because at first I wasn't open about talking about this
Yeah.
because I hadn't like made any peace with it. But when I made that spiritual awakening, I was like, oh, I went through something that needs to be shared to the audience.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you had that with your moment, with your
For
book
sure.
and everything, it's like you have to share this wisdom. You have to share what you went through because now you live a life with more of like meaning and purpose, right?
And let me ask you the last question, and after I respond to your, because I love to understand other human beings in different step of their life. When you feel like this big change, you have this mental health difficulty. What do you see at that time? You know the darkness. What do you see? Because I wanna resonate if we have the same, you know way to see the difficulty, and I will love to if you share with me what you see. You don't see hope, you don't see life, you see darkness, you don't see energized. What do you feel at that time?
I saw everything. I saw every emotion I could say.
Mhm.
I think going through it, I'm one of those like if you look at me like I'm a warrior. Like I
Mhm.
go to work. Like I'm an entrepreneur, go to the gym, I work out and I'm a warrior, like at heart. So I saw every emotion,
Mhm.
sadness, happiness, gratitude, like rich, happy, fulfillment. But the emotion that stayed the longest was sadness, of course,
Yeah.
right? When you deal with that, like I'm not an angry person. Of course, I
Mhm.
could get angry, but I know when I meditate, it's like anger is not a good emotion to to do anything. Sadness drains me. So, and also sadness was probably the longest lingering, and it's still, it comes and triggers here and there, right? I've only been had this spiritual awakening maybe like a year ago, and just been on this journey, but it's been up and down, similar to like this, but it's always going up. Like I would say, like there could be some days that are really good, some days that are low, and
Yeah.
but overall, I know that I'm getting healthier and better because one, I'm speaking more powerful, I have more meaning in it, and I also could manage my own state better too, right?
Thank you to respond to my question, because I am curious human being, not because I want to know about your different part of life, but because I want to understand how we are similar together, and if we help each other, we really to good work, to good action, to what you do with this podcast, to what I do with my book, we possible really with small word, small or big action, try to change other human being, other life. Because what's happening is sometimes some small word, some small action possible really change in some kind of moment of human being life. It's so important to what you do, what you share with your experience and everything, because it's so important. Because sometimes people, they don't understand, can like podcast is like some conversation with a friend, and sometimes if it happening to me, I listening some podcast and I see some similar situation to other human being, and I feel inside so it, because I understand I am not alone to feel this emotion.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that too. The emotional side, I had a conversation with my business partner yesterday. It's like he said, don't bottle this up and everything, because it's part of our entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship goes up and down. Like who could help the ones that have been going through the ups and downs and can help support that too. So that's why like I enjoy the podcast, enjoying sharing my message. And even though it's tough every day, but like at the end of the day, we chose this. For me, I say I chose this lifestyle, and of course, it's tough. Like I'm not gonna say it's easy. Like entrepreneur and putting yourself out there is not as easy as people think, but it's definitely worth it. There's a lot of rewards behind it. But yeah, no, I appreciate you even asking on the podcast as well too, instead of me just asking the questions and stuff. So it's good. Do you have your own podcast?
No, I don't have my own podcast, but how you see from my story, the learning process in my life, to ask question, and to understand other human being, and to practice, and to try to, in every part, in business, in emotion, in the 12 aspect every human being have, to understand the other human experience in business, in relationship, spiritually, everything, and to try, and after internalize what you tell me, to how is possible help me in my process of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you started meditating and putting this method together, uh, you decided to get a PhD after. When did you get a PhD in when you're in Florida right now, right?
No,
Correct.
no. When I take my PhD, like before I moving to Florida, and I because in the same time when I create this chain of jewelry and starting business in Italy, wake up really early in the morning at that time to study, because after I need to go to work, and I take this PhD in business management, where the beautiful thing, I at that time I really do something now everybody they do. What I do to utilize my PhD, I go and I interview the most important entrepreneur in Italy, and I really from over there at 20, I remember 26, 27 years old when I finished my PhD. I interview these people, and I understand how is working their mind, and I bring their mind in my life. At the same time, I create some kind of relationship where one of these people I interview at that time now is really one of my big friend, where he is the one of the people endorse the book. He's a billionaire over here in Italy with the most big university over here in Europe.
So you
And
say you interviewed them, right? You
uh,
interview you interviewed them?
yeah,
Is
I
that what
interviewed him
it's basically a podcast?
like at
You
that
do
time
have
it's
a
not
podcast.
podcast. Yeah, it's not podcast. Something different. It's more human touch, like physical,
Like in a studio, you interview them. This is
Correct.
this is my way for me to reach out to people in Italy and across the world and everything. But I'm just doing it here in the basement. But yeah, that's incredible. So you like low key, so like professional athlete, millionaire, PhD, connected to God. So I mean, you got a lot of like great stuff going on for you and everything. And the next phase in your life, you got a book, right? Is that did the PhD help you write the book? I always wanted to write a book, but like I don't know how to grasp my head around it. But I don't know if I even feel like I'm ready to write it yet. I definitely have one in my like an idea of just like more like a personal development book, but like a bio.
And I think so, like, I want to share with you something. Uh, what you need to do, you need to write this book, because it's so important, because you never know uh, how your word, through a book, through a podcast, or wherever you find a way to share with human being, possible change other human life, when it means, because you have an experience and deep experience in your life with the different up and down. I think so you need to share your book. Now, to return to your question, no, my PhD, like everything in life, helped me in the direction to write a book, or to go in Florida. It means, if you ask me if my PhD helped me in write a book, yes, but it's not necessary to write a book. What is
Yes,
me,
yes.
understand? Like, it's so in. I really, really enjoy write this book called "Healthy, Rich, and Happy," where how I explained before. I have, first of all, the honor to be endorsement from three really important, first of all, human being, second of all, entrepreneur. They are one, this my friend Danilo Iervolino, second one is Rob Cliff, a multifamily expert, and the third one is a Brent Gove, really, famous real estate agent in USA. This is three my friend. And what's happening, this book I wrote because I feel the obligation to share with more people possible this book. And this is really divided in two parts. The two parts create the final process, the wealthy part, and I explain what this means. First of all, I believe in and I prove through my experience of life, the best thing one businessman or one person wanna starting a business is to, first of all, create the internal part. And in this book, I share what is changing completely my thinking, my heart, and my life, with meditation, morning, which means I wake up really early in the morning at 4:30 in the morning, pray, biohacking, and exercise. These four pillars, they are the really my my uh, uh,
You said
uh,
right?
rock, where this is the website, yeah, the where my rock, where I every day I wake up and I create and I do this method to go after what is my vehicle of real estate to bring wealth in my life. But without this method, M.P.B.E, I don't possible go in peace, go in clarity, go with more sharp mind to this other piece. It means real estate, where I know, real estate is the way to becoming wealth because happening in my life. And in the second part of the book, first of all, I explain this method with detail where I go deeply in each method. And in the
Mhm.
second part of the book, I explain how I from zero in United States, it means zero. I don't know nothing about real estate. I know about real estate in Italy, but not in United States. How create a multimillionaire success? How find deal? Where I find which kind of information? How utilize the correct way to do this? And I explain three methods I use in my real estate business. This means meaning the first one is flipping, buy, fix, and resell property. The second of all is create cash flow. It means the cash flow give you the possibility to do whatever you want when you decide in which part of the world you are. And the third one is, buy land situated in area where you know better than me how it's working in United States. You
Mhm.
possible know where is possible where development, where big project is coming. If you go to see the city, you will understand. And I what's happening, I buy land in area where I know around this land will be some big project will give me in the next 5, 6, 7 years 10x 20x, and this is the strategy about real estate. Everything is combined in this book with the final goal to achieve, to the person read this book, these three words, what I believe 100% is possible for everybody: healthy, rich, and happy. And each word I want to share with you something. It's so important. It's so different for everybody. The first question everybody need to ask is, what does it mean for you healthy? What does it mean for you wealthy? And what does it mean for you happy? And what does it mean for you richness? This is the three words so important because for everybody it's different.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how about I share my you coach me on that, and like here's the website. What we'll do is we'll attach on to the podcast and we'll get that
Appreciate.
like marketing material. And I love how you put it together. It's like nicely organized, and landing page and marketing is so important in really creating that, and coming on podcast and like marketing it that way as well too, and having you speak gives so much credibility. I think credibility video is so much, and especially when it comes to podcasting and doing this. But I love it. I'll tag it here onto the podcast show notes and put mine as well too. Let me ask you a question, and then I would love to go through those answers, and you help me coach through it. Because part of the podcast is like I tell people I'm a coach, but I'm also working through my things as well too, and we could do that here on the podcast. So morning meditation, I talk about that a lot. But prayer, what's that? How different is that than meditation and prayer? What's the difference?
Yeah, the difference is, in meditation, you are in the flow. For example, what this means, I don't think anything, but before I do my meditation transcendental, and you know better, the meditation is working, in particular, the transcendental meditation working with a mantra. I tell to my mind, hey, I wanna, for example, today I have a podcast. That's it, okay? And after I go with my mind, I repeat my mantra, and I go on in the flow. The activation pray is
Mhm.
something completely different because I
Yeah.
choose to go after and to connect with the divine. In which way? And I will explain. The
Ooh.
first way, and if you read the big the big book in different religion, Bible, and for the Muslim, the Quran and everything, you will
Mhm.
find something so important. Means something this, you will, first of all, what I do, I pray for people or situation to help other human being near me or external or in the world. Okay, first of all, when I share, I give from with all my heart, open to somebody, for example, you today, you give me your beautiful energy, your beautiful smile. I
Is
will
it pray from the
probably
heart? Do you pray from the heart, or how do you pray?
I
Like,
pray with my heart, where I
okay.
tell, hey, God, thank you for this beautiful moment. To in this podcast, I share, my first of all, the thank, and second of all, I pray for the person give me some kind of energy or to resolve some kind of problem
Mm,
near me or for other people, not direct to me, quindi not for me, for
so
other
student.
human being, for
Yes.
other human being. Quindi it's not for me in this moment. In this moment, I pray for other person. I pray for my mother. I pray for my nephew. I pray for my brother. I pray for the war in Ukraine, wherever. And
Yes.
after what's happening, remember the big book in religion is something where it's the same. And if you follow, you will have the peace inside you. I ask with clarity to the divine what I want, what this means. For example, today, I pray, okay, please let me do something in my day where I will call this person, I will do this, I will go and send some offer for this property real estate, I will send 10 message for the book, I will speak with in this podcast with energy and power. And
Yeah.
means for me pre-activation. First of all, I give. Second of all, I ask and I will receive in my day.
Mm, I love it. Thank you for sharing it. Your perspective is so good on it. I've done meditation, I've done prayer, but I also am curious to see how you had it and how you explained it was absolutely beautiful. And to me, for me, just a quick to summarize, like when I meditate, I feel like it's all here. And then when I pray, I feel like it's here. So it's like a combination, like in Dr. Joe Dispenza work, he talks about it, the brain and heart coherence when they're
Mhm.
working together. And then we talk about biohacking and the brain. So how the brain's so important. And I want to emphasize, especially in this podcast, when we talk about biohacking, and the brain is actually something that actually could be trained. And there's techniques, there's exercises and things that you could do. And I know you meditate, but is there anything outside of biohacking that you do, like co-plunge?
Yeah, yeah. What I do is this one. In my morning, really, my ritual morning, like, is almost 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, what I
Okay.
do is 20 minutes of meditation. After I do a breathing exercise, breathe,
Okay.
exercise, 10 minutes.
Energy.
Where
Yeah.
yeah, where I feel my hair inside, and I go really strong, where I feel my hair no anymore, like, where I need the I need the enjoy to find the hair. And after this 10 minutes, what I do, I use one device called brain tap. This brain tap is for Dr. Porter, is like, go with sun music or sun word and sunlight in the front to
Hmm.
my subconscious to, like, really working on this part.
Yes.
And I use other kind of device, like aura ring, like this one, because I saw and in my morning after this, and I pray the activation pray, I do 3 minutes of plunge, cold plunge, in the way where I need feel like completely shift, because how it's important shift
You gotta change your
change.
state. You gotta change your state. Yeah. That's how, like, in the morning time, like the morning routine is super important because you when you're younger, I could just spring out and be super motivated. But as I get older, it's like what plays an effect is the food that I digest the night before. If I could get that digested, I'm up and going. I'm at the gym, drinking my caffeine, listening to my music, and doing my morning routine. My morning routine is a little bit different than everybody, but it's something that you develop over time, and then it just becomes yours. And
Mhm.
that I love that, like emphasizing like a morning routine that is tailored specifically towards you. Some people don't like cold plunges. Some people don't like working out, but there should be something that gets you from a sleep state to like a awake state that changes your brain waves, right? So that you put in different state.
You tell something so important, and I wanna really share with your people. Is this
Yeah.
one? Is not a unique method to everybody. What this means, we are similar human being. We feel similar emotion, but in reality, we are different in some part of our mind and some part of our body. What this means, it's not for everybody wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Other
Mm,
people they like wake up in other kind hour, but it's important to understand and to understand where you performing the best, because when you understand when is your time, when you performing the best, you possible capitalize and use this time to use for the best and more profitable activity, bring the wealth you need to live with external abundance, and this is so important.
absolutely. I love it. I mean, the morning routine, some people could think it's like a waste of time, but like basketball players, they play 3 hour basketball game one day, but like they're not putting in 8, 10, 12 hours. But a lot of that is prepping for that moment. And when we talk about flow and stuff, flow could be in a very condensed moment, like this podcast. I wanted to make sure this was the most important thing that I did for today, right? And prep for it. And this was the first thing that I'm gonna do. Of course, obviously, I'm gonna do a little bit more work after it, but this is the main thing that I wanted to do today to get a big impact on a lot of people and reach out to other people. So podcasting for me, it's a form of productivity, healing, and my service back to everything and creating meaning. But thank you for sharing that and your method. And then yeah, so we got about like 10 minutes left in the show, and I would love to go through that exercise that you just spoke about. And then you kind of coach me through it, and then we could say something inspirational for both our audience.
Yeah, like how I do exercise, and I realized something important. How I shared before is this one, because everybody is different. Our body, my body, is no don't have the same characteristic of your or for other human being. What's happening? I realize this, and I do two things now in my life. First of all, before I do integration, but I do this integration with external product in the way where really I don't know how much of something I need for my body. Now, what's happening? I find one company. I don't have any commercial related with this company called Biomeo, where what they do is this one. They do the test, saliva test, and everything for you, and they tell you how much and what you need to eat, which kind of
Yeah.
superfood is perfect for you or not. First of all. Second of all, I understand this part, and now, based on my age, my weight, and everything, and my goal, I do specific exercise where I understand to mix something so important. First of all, I do, power lifting exercise, interval training, and the other part I enjoy to the cardio, kickboxing, because I do for many years. This three thing is part of my exercise
That's
because
what you do now. That's what
uh,
you do now. That's what you do now as well.
yes,
Wow. See, he's even a hybrid athlete. I'm a hybrid athlete as well too, similar to you. Like a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of some martial arts, some cardio in there, kettlebells, but functional as well too, right? But you also like the bodybuilding. We could spend a whole nother hour talking about bodybuilding. I actually, the next podcast I have is actually going to be a bodybuilding champion. His name is,
nice.
yeah, he's won world titles and everything. So I'll be able to pick his brain. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in like natural bodybuilding. But that is a whole topic that I love and could talk about forever and never and never. But it's also neat that you said that you still keep up your athletics while doing it as
Mhm.
well too. It keeps you energized, right? Right?
It's so important because it's like something where now is not only something I need to do, but it's part of me because I training for many years, and if I don't do this part of my day, I will feel without this energy generate to endorphin, where you do lifting or you do kick or you do whatever. But how is important is something I realized in the last couple of years, something important. I training last year with one personal trainer, and he give me another vision of the power lift and the exercise and everything. He told me, why you have like so big success in real estate, in business, because what you do, you go with your mind, you visualize what you want to do, you go after your goal. Now try to do the same strategy to the exercise, like how Schwarzenegger he do. I don't know if you know this. Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
you know, what's happening? He do something like this, and he visualize when he do the exercise and everything. And what's happening? What I learned in the last year, because it's so important to understand what you learn, is something where I feel now my body, because I am my mind when I do the exercise. I'm that moment. I'm only focalized in the exercise. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful because you had the connection. You know,
The connection. Yeah, the connection super super important, especially, and the word, it's in different languages, like it's chi, prana, life force, the force, whatever it is, right? It all flows together. And I think when you're connected to like a higher purpose or connection and everything, the language is the same. Like all the masters, everybody that we study, like Jesus, Buddha, different philosophers and everything. The message is very similar, but it's just said specifically in different ways, right? So like biohacking, exercise, working, we are taking care of our body. And when we take care of our body, our temple, money starts to come. And that is the flow of energy. And I love that, I love our conversation about it and how you could relate athletics to business. And a lot of people, when I first started doing it and started talking about it, it was like really, really weird about how I could apply this type of training to work, to repetition, seasons and cycles, how you plan out things, how you track things, how you keep track of things. That's so important, especially when it comes into like business and life. Is like we have to get feedback on the podcast, on our coaching and everything. Well, you've been on a lot of podcasts, right? Can you tell me a little bit about my podcasting interviewing skills? And
First of all, I need to share with you something. Your question is so interesting because open a loop where you close or I close with something to give to other human being, because if
Mhm.
they pay attention, they will find some gift, like in this conversation, because I will review for myself and I find the gift from you and from me, because it's so important to understand what we tell outside. And really love your podcast, because you try to bring through, first of all, the this part inside the argument to to go in business. But first of all, you understand it's so important. Okay, so important, first of all, to build the internal part, and after to go to the other part. But something I wanna tell you is, so I believe in do all this kind of operation. This means do all this practice, but at the same time be somebody to do action. And action is so important, because I see a lot of human beings, they are in the learning process for all their life, but never experiment action. The only way, you told me before, the only way really to have some kind of result, good on bad, and put action in what you do. And you told me before, the podcast for you is a different kind of emotion, where you bring energy to the world, to yourself, and after you send it out, you have the feedback from the world. And if is the feedback good, you proceed with something. If the feedback is not good, you will trick something, and
Click it.
something good will come.
Yeah, and that's part of the process, and it's part of the Modern Flow podcast. Originally, it was called the Flow In Flow Out podcast, and I
Mhm.
changed the name. And it was actually, that's kind of part of my philosophy is we're always constantly changing, learning, growing, working with other people, entrepreneurs, people in personal development, and like having people talk about how important personal development is to your success, financial success is very important. Because I remember going to business school and everybody was like money, 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 money. But after a while, you could really break down if you're not really focusing on the other parts that doesn't apply to money, right?
Mhm.
Like your personal, your mental, your spiritual, and all that. That helps carry a lot of the weight as well too. And I appreciate you so much coming to share your wisdom. And the thing about, and I want to emphasize about wisdom, wisdom's not gained with just knowledge. Wisdom is gained by action. After you listen to an inspiring podcast, you're inspiring. You know, inspire me to write a book, continue the podcast, continue to talk to my clients, continue to make them better as well, to continue to coach them. Seek out better guests. Work out a little bit harder. Those are the little things in the road of our journey, or personal development journey, or spiritual journey, where we meet people. And one of my soul sister, I was like, how do you know when you're divinely guided? She said the right people will show up. And you know you showed up at this podcast, and it's, I want to say, it's one of my favorite podcasts that I recorded.
Uh, Thank you. I really appreciate the same for me. And the really beautiful thing you tell me is something like uh, the I believe 1000%. Okay, our main goal in our life is to share positivity and energy, because something I want to share really deeply in happening in my life when I have I have age of 20, no, yeah, 22, 23 years old. I ask to one person, he's in the business, to some kind the suggestion, some kind help. What this means, I don't want to know his trick on anything, but I want to he told me something to to help him. He's a really big success guy, and he really close his shell, and he really treat me not really good. At that time, I understand how is important to use the correct word and the correct action to other human being. Because what's happening, some word, some action in some moment if of other people life, possible really change other human being. Means through this podcast, it's really important what you do, because you share word in way they possible change people life, because somebody possible feel really down, and with some kind of word they understand, other people they make something they possible do the same,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Everything, for me resonates. I hope it resonates with other people as well too. And before I wrap up the show, there's the question that I wanted to answer before we headed out is, I think you asked, define what physical health is, mental health is, financial health, and spiritual health,
hmm
right? Is that so for anybody that's listening, I always leave with actionable items, right? Don't just listen to the podcast, actually do the exercise, or even just think about it and share it as well too. And I want to share, what is good physical health to me. I want to be able to go into 100 years old, like still lifting weights, still playing basketball, right? That's the type of health that I want, especially. And then in my mental health, I want to show up for my family mentally, right? I want to
yeah.
show up sharp for podcasts. I want to show up sharp for coaching calls. I want to keep that sustained as long as possible. I don't have like a certain date, but the goal, I don't know exactly when we're going to go, but it's like, enjoy the time and really take care of yourself now.
Mhm.
Okay. I think that's so important. And then financial health, we're there, right? The mindset is there. The everything's being laid, the path to become Jacopo Jr.
You will be unique, because we are everybody unique,
Yeah.
similar but unique. What this means, if you really go deeper in yourself, your way how you will communicate, you will find really a big audience because you have the way where other people they pass through, and if you really share with other human being your core story, because it's reality, it's your life. I feel you go in this situation,
Yeah,
uh, you possible only touch other human being and create wherever you want in your life, wherever you believe, and wherever bring you energy, power, and blessing for you and for wherever you wanna bless.
absolutely. That's a powerful blessing that you had there. And then I mean, the last thing is that the spirituality, the connection to your purpose and your mission, and you fit right into it. The mission of the Modern Flow podcast is to help elevate the collective. That means everybody, anybody that's listening to the podcast, your audience, my audience,
Mhm.
anybody that's a fan of the podcast, and we're helping elevate one, our mindset, our physical body, our spiritual energy, and you giving us and blessing us with that energy has been amazing. So, if you want to say anything before we end the show,
I will,
I'll
yes,
let
I will love to sell something,
yeah,
because I believe in my mission, and my mission is to spread it out wherever we spoke today in this podcast.
yes, feel
Please,
free to do anything.
yeah, please help me to share my book with more people as possible to buy through Amazon or through my website, because I know 100% you will find something important in this book. It's not a book coming from the ego, but it's the opposite. It's a book coming from my heart to share what it changed my life, and how you possible change your financial life through the real estate, because I am believe 1000% real estate is the way to becoming successful. Freedom is not easy, like nothing is easy in life, but it's possible, and through action where I share inside the book, really you possible find different path where possible help, because help me every day in my process and in to make money through the real estate.
Yes, 100%. And feel like the book, I'm all about books. Especially it's a lot neater or cooler meeting the person that wrote the book, and then reading their story as well too, and how their mind and thought process is. And it definitely inspired me as well too. And I've been doing more writing, and uh never that I known like this idea will come to like an idea to actually come, because I grew up really having like I didn't have I had limiting beliefs about writing,
Mhm.
because that was like the worst subject that I was in. You give me
Mhm.
an A in PE and A in art, and math, but it was definitely like C's and D's in the English class and writing papers. But I figured out that my mission, my purpose is more important than this disability, this identity and thing. So that's very inspired me. And I do want to read the book, and I'm gonna link it in the podcast as
Thank
well too. And I would be happy to purchase it and read it and support your cause.
and the last one I want to tell you, all the monies from this book will donate to one association I help called Hermano de la Calle. This association is in Miami, because I donate this money to this association. I help them with some my property, and plus I have one really big goal now in my life, is to try through real estate create the possibility to help the big problem now we have, in particular in America, in Miami too, the homeless. But I don't want to bring to them only property, but I want to give real estate a place where when they go inside their property and they lost their dignity because they live in the street before, they go to their house and they have different of peace to what we spoke in this podcast. It means a possibility to meditate, pray, do some biohacking and exercise, where in the house for them don't become all a place where they need to sleep and wake up and try to do, and the next day go to the job, but a place where they absorb good information.
Wow. Amazing work. So a lot of you're doing the spiritual work, and I could see. And yeah, thank you for sharing that as well too.
You're
And
welcome.
yes. Bless you. Thank you for attending our podcast and everybody listening to the podcast. I hope you guys are inspired just as much as I am, and we will see you guys on the next one.